Right, SWA take 2. Right, so as you can see we've run the cables into the main building now, so we just need to cut this one terminated in. I put a new blade into this because the old blade was shot, which is probably why part of the reason why I might have been in trouble at the other end. This is the hottest day, one of the hottest days of the year, so this is not great either. So somewhere down here I've made a mark on this cable already, somewhere.
Just get the cable, push your phones on those. When it's on 15, I'm going to put it on charge.
Let's mark that off. Yeah, that's right. Right, so we're going to try this again. See if we can get this to work properly this time. So we're going to cut about there, go in the right direction of the cutter. Yes. That way. So let's see how we get on this time. Let's see how that comes off. Oh, cut away from you. Let's see if we can do this in one go. No, I thought maybe we'd get it all done in one go, but we didn't.
Right, I am just going to watch everything now and I'm going. Eh?
There we go.
It's been away for 2 weeks, take it down. Roll it.
There you go. Okay, let's see if this all comes off in one. It probably won't. Let's just take it. Not bad this time. One decided it wasn't going to play ball out of all those strands. There you go, that's not bad going. Okay, next bit. So that came off reasonably okay, so I don't know what went wrong at the other end, but that's come off fine. So I honestly don't know what happened at the other end. But anyway. Whipping, there he is. Oh, my knife! Alright, let's cut that back. And that's done. Oh, right in my eyes. There we go. Yeah, it's come off alright. Good change. Right. Now, I think what I might do is I might cut that down a bit, just so that I've got it's a little bit more manageable.
Watering canteen so I don't blow all night.
So I think I'll cut that down maybe about to there. Then we can shorten those cables down. It just makes it more manageable. Of course, I've not got my hacksaw or whatever. Oh, sorry. Right. There we go. Right, so that's that sorted. That's in the way. Right. So now what I might do is I might actually get to that there and strip that back while I'm here. There we go. Yeah, right, so I don't have to worry about stripping that later either. That's the other mistake I made with the other end. Right, now the difficult bit is getting that on there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take that off the wall and do this. On first time. And that is how it's supposed to work. I do know what I'm doing. Right, so that's actually gone on absolutely first time. And at the other end, well, you saw what happened at the other end. That's when SWA termination goes completely wrong. This one shows you how it goes completely right. So there you go. Obviously I need to tighten that up, obviously. I obviously need to get the gland on, but it's on. That's the point, it's on. There you go. That in there. Wait a minute. That on there. And we're there. That just needs tightening up properly. And obviously I've got to hook that on into onto there. And that piece just basically screws onto there to grip the cable. There you go, so that just needs attaching, that needs attaching to the wall. Oh, I'm going to strip and crimp the earth down first, then that's done and out of the way. Let's put that cover on that knife so we don't get hurt with that. Oh, I want that. So what we've got here, let's move those out of the way just for a minute. We don't need those for a second. So what we've got, there's the earth screw, so we're going to get a screw onto that. So it's going to be a yellow crimp terminal. quite sure which size, so let's get my screwdriver. Oh, I'm not sure which size we're going to need. Let's see which one it is. That's quite small, so we can get away with a relatively small one, I think. See what we've got in this box of tricks of mine. That is, oh, there you go. That'll do. That'll do nicely. There we go. It's one of them. Right, let's strip. Now, these cables don't like to bend too much, so I think we'll do that. So I think we'll cut it about there. Just after those labels. I think. There we go. And we'll strip that back. There we go. And finally get the crimp out. It is so hot out here today. It really is. There we go. Don't know what happened there. Anyway, that's on. There we go. So that's on there. Right. Okay, so that's done with. That's done with. So we now need to get these all connected in, so I need to probably shorten those down a bit. I think. Yeah, shorten them. And I need the Wagos. Right. So probably I want to try and get these reasonably short because try and get them reasonably short so that I can actually work with them. About that long. Strip those back. And then I think we'll do the same length for these. undone. Undone. And that one done. Into there. But might have missed the last bit if you did. Because my camera overheated. That's why it went off. So even the camera's struggling in this weather. Right, so we're done out here now. That's all terminated into there. So now we're going indoors. Right, now we're going to, I've shorted out, or rather I've connected line to earth at the other end of the SWA cable. I'm now going to test R1, R2 and installation resistance on that cable all the way down. Now, the readings for this will be a little bit, at home I've done the calculations for what I should be seeing on this, and I will flick to that in just a second. So let's just go through each section in turn. So the first thing we're going to need is, what is this SWA? Well, we know that this SWA that I've fitted is a 2-core 6mm SWA cable. That's what we've got fitted. Okay, and we've got 32 meters of it. So let's go through this. So referring to table I1 in the on-site guide. Okay, so look up 6mm SWA, gives us a value of 3.08 ohms per kilometre. Nice and straightforward. Okay, nice and straightforward. However, that is the only information you can get out of the on-site guide. The next piece, you have to go to guidance note 6, because this is where you're going to get the formula in order to work this out. Don't forget that what we're working on with here is copper for the conductors, but we're using steel, the steel wired armour in the SWA for the earthing. So we need to combine those two resistances to give us the earth fault loop path. Okay, I know, bear with me. So in guidance note 6, the formula. I'm not going to go through what all these things actually mean, but let's just run with it, okay? The actual formula that you need to refer to is this one. So RPHPE equals RCLPH plus 1.1 RA times L1. That's L as in letter. Go on that last bit. What does all that mean? That's a bit double Dutch, isn't it, really? Well, let's go through each little bit here in turn, shall we? Right. Okay, so the RCLPH, RCLPH value, okay, is the line conductor resistance per meter. Note, in this case, per meter, not per kilometre. So we have to change the 3.08. We have to change that value there to be meters. So in this particular case, what that means is that value is going to be 0.00308 ohms. Okay, so that gives us the value for the 6mm conductor. Now we know what L1 is, or we don't. L1 is the circuit length. Now in this case we know that that's going to be, oops, that's the circuit length, which we know is 32 meters. At least that's straightforward. So what the heck is RA, you might be asking? Right, RA is the DC resistance of the armour. Now you won't find that in Guidance Note 6 or any BS 7671 publication. But where you can find it, if you search for it on the internet though, there are several places you can find it. In my particular case, I'll just write this down so we know RA is going to be the DC resistance of the armour, and I found the value for what this particular cable is from a website called elexon.co.uk, and it's on that website. Okay, but if you search Google for resistance of armour or something along those lines, this is what you come up with. There are other websites. This is the one I found. So in this case, what I found was for a 2-core 6mm SWA cable, the resistance is 7.0 ohms per kilometre. But we need all these values in per metres, so in actual fact it is 0.007 ohms per metre. Are we all following this so far? I do hope so. So we now have all the values for this lovely calculation, and you might already now realise that the RPHPE is the earth fault loop path value that we want to see when we actually do this test, and you'll see on the video in a minute. So let's go down. So let's fill in all the values in, shall we? Let's see what we come up with. So we have RPHPE. Let's fill in the values. So we want the RCLPH, which we already found, which was 0.00308. We're going to add to that the start. I don't know what 1.1 is. Maybe someone else does. 1.1 times the RA, which is the resistance of the armour, 0.007. And we're going to multiply that by the length of the circuit, length of the armour, which is 32 metres. Following that? It's good, isn't it? Right, so, next bit. Who said electricians don't need maths? Right, so, all that little gobbledygook there all multiplies down. I'm not going to do it on a calculator. Comes out at 0.01078 multiplied by 32. And the value for the earth fault loop path comes out as 0.34496 ohms. So the value we want to see when we actually do the test in the ballpark of that region. Now, like I've said before, this is under perfect conditions. In the real world, it may not be near that. Or rather, I should say, it should be within the ballpark of that figure. Now, by QTech, tester has a margin of error of 0.05. So you could argue that if I've got a value somewhere between 0.29 and 0.39, we would be pretty happy with that. But like I say, this is under perfect conditions. So we might find it might be outside of those ranges slightly, but what we don't want to see is a reading of 0.7 or 0.8, because that would show that there is a problem. But if it was 0.4, that kind of range, I think we could live with that. But that's what we want to be seeing. So let's go back to the real world and let's see what we actually get. So now you've seen the readings that I'm expecting under ideal conditions, and it's incredibly hot out there today and the cable is buried. So you know, those readings are under ideal conditions. So I'm not expecting these to be exactly the same, but it has given me an idea of what to expect. So we're going to hook these up, see what R1, R2 readings we actually get. Okay, we've got a reading of, just let me show you on the camera, we can see this. So we've got a reading of 0.32. Now, as you saw in the calculations, I was expecting a reading around 0.34. So that is absolutely, that's pretty good. Given the temperature out here today is that hot. 0.34, that's rare. Now I don't have to do an R1RN, but I'm going to, just to prove that everything is absolutely as it should be. So hopefully that'll stay on. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're now on earth to neutral, and here we go. Earth to neutral, 0.31. Yes, I'm so happy with that. So the math works. There you go. So we're going to do, might as well do the IR test now while I'm here. So I'll unconnect that. Well, actually it is unconnected, so I can actually do, if I connect that onto there, I ought to be able to do a 250 volt test because there's no connection between those two. And there you go. So R1, R2. Hopefully you can see that. Put it back a bit, just in case. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm going to go and disconnect the connection out there, come back, we'll do the other IR, and then that's all fully tested. Right, let's check the insulation resistance on, so we've done, am I still on? Yeah. Right, okay, let's try the insulation resistance between earth and neutral, and then we'll do neutral to line, and then we're all done with that. Now so we can do the neutral to line because there's nothing connected to it, so just do that. Yeah, greater than 2000, that's absolutely fine. And let's turn that off on. And we'll just do line neutral just for completeness. And then we're sorted. So 250 volt insulation test. Yep, brilliant. So that's tested everything, that entire path from here all the way to the other board. Excellent. Now, one thing I will say about the calculation, that calculation I did was for the length of the SWA cable, which is 32 metres long. These are only a metre either end, so it's only adding 2 metres of this. And if you actually look at the 6mm singles values, they're negligible when you look at the bigger reading. The margin of error is 0.05 and these are well within that, so there's no point me actually doing that. But obviously I've done it, I've done it now, so, and the reading has come out absolutely perfect, so I'm happy with that. Now, so that's all the dead test for all the circuits. So this circuit, this is a circuit, isn't it? So that circuit's done, all the dead tests for the circuits down there are all done. So we can get this hooked up into this board now. And then the next test I need to do is down the other end, where I need to test the ZE for that board and the earth rod and see what that comes out as. Now that should be less than 200 ohms, I'm hoping it'll be way less than that, but we won't know until we do it. So that test needs to be done. And then we need to do, then when that's all done, we can power up and we can finally do the RCBO tests down there. We've done the RCD test up here, that's fine, although I might repeat it anyway. RCBO test down there, and that is all the tests done. Ow. So we're finished at that end, that's all wired in as you saw. We're now down here, we're all sorted out in here, so we're now going to power it on. I could do the earth rod test from inside the board, as you know, but I'm going to do it from the plug, only because I know what the readings are for this. They're 0.3 whatever it was, I can't remember honestly, but because we're doing an earth rod, it's going to be negligible what actually reading here, so we actually are going to get a reasonably true reading of what's going on that rod. So we're going to switch on, and we're just going to switch on the sockets. Not going to bother with the lights, we're just going to switch on the sockets. Oh, and obviously the SPD. Okay. Now already I have a tester on when I did that. So the tester's reading 245 volts, absolutely fine. We've got it set to no trip. And let's see what that reading is on that earth rod. Don't forget, in BS7671, it has to be below 200 ohms. Anything below 100 is good. It's bone dry outside. It's one of the hottest days of the year. So let's see what we get. 56.86 ohms. I think I'm happy with that. That is really good. As I say, it's bone dry out there as well. 56.86 is really, really good. So that is brilliant. So the only test we're left with now is the RCD tests. So, or the RCBO tests, I should say. Now we can do the socket one, not a problem. So we're going to set it to 30 milliamp auto. Okay, and let's hopefully see that we are going to get this RCBO tripping. It shouldn't go anywhere near the one in the main building. Shouldn't go anywhere near it. Yep, that's okay. That's okay. Passed, but didn't trip that RCBO. Okay. Let's go back to the main building.
You alright, Mike?
Yeah, I think so. Right, just a quick recap of what's gone on here, the very last thing, and that's the RCD tests that I've done. Haven't done what I was expecting them to do, so I need to think about this really. There is nothing in the regulations or inspections that dictate that if you've got an RCD and you don't know which one's going to trigger, that's a failure. It's more of an observation, to be honest. But that's exactly what we've got here. Sometimes these RCBOs are tripping off during the testing. Sometimes the RCD in the main building is tripping off, and of course it trips off everything in the main building. Why that's happening, I'm not entirely sure. don't get me wrong, the installation is perfectly safe. The RCDs have passed their tests. They're doing what they're supposed to do, but you just don't know which one's going to trip. Whether it's going to be this one in here, or it'll trip the main building. So that is an issue which I'm going to have to think about. Okay, the problems I've been having in doing the RCD tests, well, that is my bad, and I have got a solution for it. Basically it's to do with selectivity. As you can see, this is off by the way. This is an RCD which covers all of these MCBs, and that last one there goes down to the board. So of course this RCD covers that. Of course down at the other board there's a list of RCBOs as well. So we've got an RCD and an RCBO in series with each other. So of course we're getting selectivity issues. So what I'm doing, or what I will be doing in a week or two's time, is I'm going to be replacing that with this. Now you might think that's a bit of an overkill, but it is a board that's been sitting in my workshop for nearly a year. It's actually pretty much brand new. It's not bad at all. It's pretty good condition actually, to be honest. So we're going to be using this. So we're going to be using this, and what we're going to do, because this is a split board, is on one side we're going to have the MCBs covered by an RCD here, and then I'm going to have a 100 milliamp RCD here which will cover the MCB going down to the outbuilding. That will deal with the selectivity issues. It'll also make sure that the rest of the design works, because this RCD will then cover the SWA. That's what we're going to be doing to solve that problem. That's my bad. I completely forgot about selectivity, yeah, that was really silly of me. It's not a major issue where the regs are concerned, because there's no safety problems, because when I did the test the RCDs are going, but you just don't know which ones are going. So it is a C3 if it was an inspection report. If they weren't actually firing at all with this selectivity, they weren't going off, they weren't tripping, then that's a C2 if I remember rightly, and that would mean I'd have to do it straight away. But the fact is that they are tripping when I do the tests, but the tests are, in a way, they're meaningless, unfortunately. So I could do all the other test results and get the certificate done for everything else except for the RCD tests. So this board's going to be replaced. I've already set it up and it all fits nicely. All the holes actually for all the bits and pieces actually match up completely brilliantly. So that's what we're going to be doing next, but it'll be in a couple of weeks. So we're all finished, apart from the selectivity issue which I've just covered. We are all done. I just need to do the paperwork now, which I'll probably go through as to how that all works. Hello Teddy. Got our little dog here today. Ted! Teddy, come here darling. Come on, they're running with tractors. Come on sweetheart. Come on darling, you stay with daddy. There you go, good boy. So you stay there sweetheart. No Ted, stay there. Yeah, he does his told. Yeah, so I'm really pleased. So I'll be back in a week or two's time to fit the replacement consuming unit up the other end, and that will deal with the selectivity issue. As I mentioned, I don't have to do that because it's a C3 on inspection, but I just want to finish it off and make sure it all works properly. Like I say, I'll go through the paperwork. It's slightly different for a TT system, so I'll go through the reasons why I've got to fill certain things in a different way, and I'll go through it all. But anyway, so yeah, I'm pleased. It's all finished and I'm dead chuffed, and so are the people at the park. So yeah, we'll see you next time.